For some reason, Facebook's algorithm is throwing the video back up that I posted a while ago, quite some time ago, of me and my husband and our recovery with our past drug addiction. And I try to check my spam messages quite frequently, and I couldn't help but notice a lot of people going through the same struggles that we used to battle are reaching out to me, wanting to know, or just like tips or help, or just wanting me to reach out to them personally just because they need tips and help with how to get their life on track because they're battling drug addiction and for the sakes of their family. But here's the thing, I won't say I made the mistake, but I actually did that with one young lady, and it resulted in her asking me for money from time to time. And with me being a recovering addict, I do know that I'm just going to use myself for example. Whenever I was in my active addiction, had someone shown me or had I stumbled across someone like myself that had beat their addiction, living a good life now, no matter how inspirational it would have been, there was nothing in the world that could have made me ready for change until I was ready for change. Everything that I have to offer is literally on my page, it's public. And again, as much as I would like to reach out to everybody individually that's looking for answers from me, it's just not possible. There is nothing that I can say to make you do something that you don't have to do until you're ready. I've been there. I've been that person in active addiction with people telling me, like, Adrian, oh my goodness, life has so much to offer. You used to be such a pretty girl before you got addicted to drugs. If you continue using drugs, you're never going to amount to anything. I've said this before in past posts, but to my new followers, y'all may not notice, but due to my drug addiction, I lost a lot of my natural teeth. So I have a partial upper and bottom. Even with my teeth missing, there was nothing that nobody could say to convince me that I needed to stop using drugs. There is no one size fits all approach. While my major was behavioral science, I do have a bachelor's degree in behavioral science. I also have a really soft heart, and I just don't want to bite off more than I can chew. After all, I'm still a recovering addict. Best advice that I could give anyone, and it's going to seem so cliche, some of the pros for me to getting off of drugs was, number one, I was able to get something that most people always knew I was capable of, which was a college education. I had a high school education, but a college education. Sorry, y'all, I'm carrying this video over into the next day, so my hair and my clothes are different. But another thing about my husband and I now being off drugs, we're homeowners, we have our children in our lives, and even though everything is not all about material stuff, we've just been able to move so differently now, from vehicles to just buying nice things that we want, being able to buy our children and our grandchildren nice things that they want. We now have a church home that we attend. And if I'm saying this correctly, I think it's called imposter syndrome. I have that because it's still hard for me to give myself credit for all of my knowledge. Sometimes I lose track of time. I don't know what goes on with my brain, but I think it's been 4 or 5, maybe 4 or 5, somewhere between 4 and 5 years that we've been clean. But shortly thereafter, about 2 years later, I was able to figure out something that is helping women and men all over the world, which is battling food addiction, because a food addiction can be just as big of a drug as anything else. Food is a drug. It just warms my heart to be able to help women and just people struggling. But now just imagine if I was still in my active drug addiction. None of this would exist. I wouldn't exist, at least this part of me anyway. Just like I say, the same scenario that I use when I'm talking about people being overweight. When I say fat people have the most potential, I know that personally. Drug addicts literally have the most potential. Most drug addicts are really smart, very intelligent people. So like I said in a previous post before, the one thing that I'm going to say is that it's just, drugs are never going to serve you. You need to figure out what it is that you need to do, whether it be going to get you some professional help if you can't afford that. If that's out of the ballpark, maybe try tapering off of it slowly, especially if it's opioids or a pill addiction. Or just cold turkey it like I did. Now, I can't lie, if you know my backstory, you know that jail played a major role in that, but also facing a prison sentence. No, I've been to prison before, and that didn't stop anything. Probably 2 weeks after I got out, I was right back to my old ways. There was just something different about this time, and I figured that either I could be clean in prison or clean and free on the streets. But if I had it all to go back and do again, still, just cold turkey it. That would be my advice. Take it one day at a time, cold turkey it again, because it's never going to serve you.